Hello, welcome back to Bebop Review. My name's Andy Shaw. Today we're looking at this comment by somebody called Omit5 who commented on one of my videos. It says, "Hey, I'd like to hear your reaction on Open Studio's semi-recent video titled 3 Levels of Bebop. I think there's something that are off about their example 3. Have a look. Thanks and have a happy new year." Okay, so let's have a look at this video that he's talking about. Okay, so it's this video, 3 Levels of Bebop by Open Studio, and as you can see, this is basically what we're talking about, this line. But before we get to this line, let's just have a look at the other lines in the video, right? Let's go into the video a bit. We're risking copyright, and see how he comes to this guy, okay? Right, the first thing he does is he's writing a line out which is supposed to be a bebop line, and he talks about broken chord, what he calls broken chords, which is really just arpeggios, right, on these chords. So we've got G minor 7, C 7 flat 9, F6, and for an American, something that's extremely rare on YouTube, he's put a key signature in. Hey! So this guy knows what he's talking about. He's put a key signature in, and we've got the chords nicely written in. He's put a flat 9 in there. Let's have a look at this. Basically, it's quite interesting. This, I tell you the truth, I've not seen this approach to bebop before, because my approach to bebop is based on Thomas Owen's PhD study in 2 volumes, and also Jen Quan Chan, and they basically use the motive way of looking at it. But this is really interesting. This. You take arpeggios and then you build them up, and then you kind of like build up levels. It's quite interesting. You can see this is actually color coded as well. He's obviously using, looking at this, he's using Sibelius, because you can do that. You can put different voices in Sibelius and have different colored heads like this. So we've got this blue obviously represents G minor 7. So this is G minor 7 chord. This purpley color, this represents a C 7 flat 9. And then this F6, you see, this is the F6, this orangey colour. It's quite good. I like how he's actually presented it, and he's presented the colours as well. I know it's a bit silly this, but I just find this interesting how he's presented it, because making it very accessible to people. Then he finishes it off with a typical beboppy stuff, and then he plays this, and he says, "Oh, it sounds a bit pedestrian. You know, it's not so good." But it does actually work as playing arpeggios through a line. It's kind of like, even though he says it's not working, this kind of playing actually Charlie Parker did use in his very early playing. He didn't play it like this, one after the other, but he did start putting arpeggios running up and down, you know, up and down. I mean, you hear it on things like Red Cross, the bridge section of Red Cross, where he's running up and down, and also Shore's Enough, where he's running up and down arpeggios. So this is used in bebop. But he's not happy with this, and he says, no, it's very pedestrian. So he moves on to level 2. So let's have a look at the level 2 one. Right, so then we get to this level 2, right, which is just alternate and jumping off, right? So we've still got these, what he calls broken 7s, or just arpeggios type things. And obviously colour coded again, so you can see, very, very nicely done. And then we're finishing off with this is the typical Charlie Parker thing that I've shown you before. So it's quite interesting. This I hadn't seen this approach before, and it's quite good. I think it's quite good. This is kind of like making a very nice voice leading line. Like you see, we're going from that F to that E to that D flat to that C, and then we haven't got a B. You see, so that we're not. It's not perfect. We're going to A, and then we're going down to G, F. We're going down to these Fs. So it's pretty good voice leading that. It's not perfect. Charlie Parker would be perfect, but saying that, it's going to make you sound different. It's not going to make you sound like Charlie Parker. So you're going to sound more like yourself, if you know what I mean. Which might be a good thing, you know. I don't know. It might be a good thing. And we're playing through the chords, all right. So I mean, it's pretty good. That, and like I say, to me, I find it fascinating, because I hadn't actually seen this approach before. Not in bebop, you know what I mean. I've seen it in other music, but to actually build up a solo like this in bebop, quite interesting. So let's go on then. So then he goes on to level 3, which is like the highest level. Broken 7th inversions plus enclosures. So the enclosure you'll probably all recognise is M5B. This bit here, right, and this bit here. He's got 2 M5Bs in. Right, now looking at that, if this is supposed to be level 3, that is, we're now up to the level of Charlie Parker. To me, looking at that, it don't quite look right. Well, if you listen to it, let's have a listen to it. If you listen to it carefully, it's not quite right. Just, even though it sounds okay, it's not quite right. Is when you listen, if you've been listening to Bebop for quite a long time, like probably me and Omate 5 have been doing. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to play this for you and let you listen to it. What I want you to do is listen carefully to these M5Bs, these what he calls enclosures. Right, I've told you before that M5B is basically about voice leading, so you need to be listening to this voice leading line, F, E flat, E or whatever, D, C. You need to be listening to those very clearly. So listen to it very, very carefully and see if you can hear the voice leading. And remember that M5B you should be hearing ba ba doo ba da like that. Ba ba doo ba da like that. So listen. Okay, so if you've heard that, these are my thoughts on what we've just heard. If you can hear the voice leading on that line, you're hearing it like this. You're hearing it from that note playing up to that note, that playing up to that playing up to that playing to that, and that playing to that. And then this is just running around to that F, you know what I mean, 2 Fs. If you look, all the lines are running up. Right, it's kind of creating some kind of mechanical device running up. Now it's all right that because if it's played quite fast, you're just hearing the line running up, and it's kind of like hitting. If you're accenting these notes at the top here, just me get rid of that. If you're accenting these notes here, which are part of the voice leading, it'll sound okay. Accent that one probably. It'll sound okay. You know what I mean? In a brief moment, but I wouldn't do it all the time. This kind of thing, this kind of running up like that, it'll end up being mechanical if you do all your solos like this. You don't want to repeat. Another thing is, let me show you this. Right, this note here is repeated here, which is a bad thing. I told you in the Amy Noti video when I was looking at hers that it didn't sound quite as good. It's all right in this because it's running up and then it's following the pattern, running up, running up, running up, running up. So you're kind of hearing this pattern, and it's all right on your ear. It's not too bad. But I would say that you shouldn't really do that. That D either should be somewhere else, or that D should be somewhere else. Because running up by arpeggio, that D's really got to be somewhere else. So you don't want to repeating that note there, because it kind of destroys the voice lead. Now it should be, but I think in this instance it's working because this is what he's going for, this rising up to hit the voice leading note. But like I say, I wouldn't do this all the time because you'll sound like a bit of a fool. So he does it same here, you see. This is definitely not what you're doing it there, and you're doing it there. This is definitely not what Charlie Parker would do. Right? It certainly wouldn't do things like that, repeating notes. You want that changing tone there to stand out. These notes here, you see these notes here, you've got a B flat here against this F6, which is an avoid note. Now, somebody will probably say, well, that's not a good playing that because you're playing bad against that. Now, he says it all comes out in the wash when you play it, which is true in a way. If you're playing this slow, this line, they're going to stand out against that F6. The slower you play it, the more it's going to stand out. The faster you play it, the less it's going to stand out. Now, there's something happening here which Charlie Parker does do, right? G7 is actually running from here to there, right, to that passing note there, because that D is much more related to G minor 7 than it is to C7. C7 it's a ninth, isn't it? But a G minor 7, it's a fifth, which is a lot stronger. So you're hearing G minor 7 really to there. Then what you're hearing here is from there to there is C7. You're hearing C7 from there to there. Okay, and then just here you're hearing the F6. So what you've done is you've shifted the pattern of the harmony, haven't you? Now that's not bad. That's not a bad thing to do, because Charlie Parker would do things like that. So that's all right. That, but if you're going to play slow, it's not going to sound as good for several reasons. One, you're going to get clashes with these B flats against the F6. Another thing is that you're repeating these notes here. Here. Bebop's supposed to be about playing through change. Oh, I've got police cars. Yeah, you've got repeated note here and here. Now Bebop's supposed to be about playing through changes, so you don't want to be hearing the same tones like that straight off. Do you know what I mean? You should be really playing in F6 if you're talking about F6 here. Or, you know, actually, I don't know. If you're playing C7, probably an E and a B flat would be better there. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is basically, I think this bit's alright. This D running up to there, that seems okay, because you're not repeating anything there, so that'll sound quite good. And then you're just finishing off. This is typical Charlie Parker line anyway, which I've showed you before, so that should be okay. I think that's about it in it, really, actually talking about it. So I think with this line, I would say it's okay on fast tunes, right? Play it on fast tunes, but not on slow tunes, right? And even if you're playing this anyway, I've just modified this. Don't play this, right, with that, especially when you're leading off. Don't think it's as bad there, but when you start leading off, to go straight to D after you've played it there, it's really going to cause this line to run up and then run up again, which is, I don't think it's not, I don't know, it might work, but it's not what I'd do. I'd make this into a changing tone and put that D there to that D. I'd change it to an E, so it'd be different. Okay, so that's how I see that. If you look on the comments, what people have been saying on his video, everybody likes this, so basically that's all that matters really. If people like it, they like it, don't they? So personally, I wouldn't want to be doing this all the time. I would just do it. If I were playing this, I would just play it like once in a solo. You know what I mean? Just put it in once. Don't keep on repeating it, because, like I said, these if people are hearing these lines going up like this all the time, they can. It's a strange thing about jazz is, people can hear things subconsciously like this a lot clearer than something that's a bit more complicated. If it's more complicated, you play it again. They kind of heard it, and then they're trying to pick up what they've heard. But if you play something simple, right, like this is, you know, these lines ringing up, and you keep doing it, people are going to hear it and not like it. You know what I mean? That's my opinion, anyway. So I'll show you what my solution to this one is. Okay. Okay, so this is my version of that line. You can see that it looks quite different. For a start, the voice leading is fantastic. F, E, D, C, B, A, G. It's just perfect. It's just like Charlie Parker, really. What I've done is actually very, very simple. I ain't spent a lot of time on this. You can just see these things quite easily. The main thing is this first M5, right, which he put starting there on that note, so it was off the beat, which is actually correct way to do it. I've put it on the beat. I started on the beat, and I'm finished on a very weak beat there. You see that coming up on that D, and you can see by what I've also done is I've dropped, because I've started on beat and I've dropped it down. We're not repeating that D. Can you see? We're not getting a D to there. So this is going to sound a hell of a lot better from the voice leading point of view. So I'm running down here into this M5B, which is now on beat. We're not repeating any of these notes, right? Now I'm jumping off. I tell you why I'm jumping right down there to D, is because I want to just keep a line going to that E to finish. Do you know what I mean? I'm keeping this. This is same as what E's got. I want to keep that, so I'm putting a D there just so I can go up to that E to finish off. So it's kind of like making two voice leading lines. It just makes it stronger when you do things like that. Then I'm jumping up to the C. Now this is the voice leading line again. We've come down to this D, right? So now we're going to this C. These notes are all part of C6, F6. Look, this is the 6th note, and this is FAC. This is the 5th. Right, then we're into another M5B. This time it's off the beat like while we started. So we've got an M5B here, right, which is running down to that one, right. So this is again voice lead, and again we've got nice, everything's fitting into F6 quite nicely. Now when we get to here, we're playing the 13th of F6, right, on this, the end of this M5B. I'll put over the top of this, I'll just put little squares, you know, with Camtasia, so you can, and I'll go round the M5B so you can see them, right? But this note is a sharp 11th on F6, right, which is actually Lydian, isn't it? But I need that B, right? I don't want to put a B flat on straight on beat against an F6 because B flat is an avoid note really. And I know he had them on that, and you know he was doing that interesting harmony, you know, like shifting beat. It's all right, but I want this to work on a slower tune, so I'm putting a B there, which is a sharpened 11th, which is going to Lydian. So that'll be okay on that F6 chord. Now it's also making nice voice leading, so this will work. This should work at a slow rate and a fast rate. Then on this B, we're immediately into yet another M5B. So I'm actually putting more M5Bs in than he had. I've got one there, I've got one here, and I've got one here. Because these M5Bs are immediately put together, not the way he did it, I'm again not repeating this note here. See, it's going G. But this is also creating like a voice line going down on this one. So you've got C, B, A, G there, but then you've got this A, G, F, so nice lines going down, all meeting on that F, and then you've got this D here that's coming up to that E to that F, so it's all coming round very, very nicely. Now, because I'm not repeating these lines, we're actually sounding much more like we're going through changes, you know, this B's really sticking out. So the changes are not really around the F6, you're actually hearing more. So what you're really hearing is G minor 7 going to C7, going to D minor 7. So it's like jumping up a thing. D minor 7, G7, C7, and F. I'll just show you. I'll just put the arm in there and show you. I'll just let you listen to that first. I'll listen to it. Okay, this is what it looks like with the harmony put in. So you can see now how I'm actually putting it in. This is typical Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker just wouldn't be restricted to those chords. He'd keep the notes within the harmony of those chords, but he'd put his own thing in. So this is like following a different, you know, different route, if you know what I mean, which is typical Charlie Parker, going up G minor into C7. But here, look, this is all D, and then this B here is definitely sticking on this G7, and then we're running up to this A, which is the 9th, dropping down to C7, so we've got this G and E both in C7, and then F at the end. So it's got a really, voice leading's right nice, and you've got really nice harmony moving. Okay, so just let you listen to that at speed. This is. Definitely got a very Charlie Parker bebop-y drive, that one, hasn't it? So basically that's it, and I hope you've got something out of this video. So I'll see you in another video. I'll just play the actual lines, his line and my line, side by side, so you can have a look. If you listen to his line, I don't think the slow line works that good because of the, you know what I mean, you've got that clashes with the harmony, and you're going to hear it more if you play it slow. But I think at speed, if you're playing it fast, the way the harmony's shifting is very much like Charlie Parker would do, so it actually sounds quite good fast. But my version sounds okay both slow and fast, so that's basically the level 4, if you like, to actually get the voice leading right and get it right so you can play it, you know, not just fast, but at all speeds. Okay, so I'll see you in another video. Bye.